Okay, it's recording. Hi, everyone. Today I have invited Bishop Rhea from Nazareth to join us. Bishop Rhea and I met a few years ago when I went to Israel and was honored to meet him in Nazareth. And this also prompted me to invite him to Paris, to the 0 Point Summit, which was sort of the starting point of Alma as we know it today. And him being our guest of honor, he gave an incredible keynote speech in which he described himself a member of the human family. And I thought this was really moving because we often identify so much with culture, countries, and religion and various other things, and it's lovely to have this this point of view of introducing yourself as a member of the human family, especially with what's going on right now in Palestine and Israel. So this is going to be the point of our chat today. So over to you, Your Grace.
Thank you very much indeed. I'm equally happy to meet again, Priyanka. It has been some time since we met, not only in Nazareth, but also in Paris and in London. And here is another invitation extended to you to come and visit again. I know that the situation is not a happy one, yet I just finished, chatting with friends in England and telling them that I greet you with salam, with peace, from a land with no peace. But my greeting of salam, of peace, stems from my belief, my unshaken belief that peace will ultimately overcome. We are going through a very serious stage in the history of relationships in Israel proper. The war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza is one thing, and the fractioning of the Israeli community again into Arab and Jew and Muslim is a very serious development, in my opinion. The renewal of confrontation between Israel and Hamas is not a new thing. Every once in a while, either Hamas or Israel, they start shooting at each other. And but how things developed within the Israeli society, especially in the mixed cities, in Lod, in Ramla, in Jaffa, in Haifa, in Jerusalem. This is beyond. This is serious. This is very serious. And nobody thought that this will happen after almost 70 years of living side by side. True, there are reasons for some to believe that there is discrimination. There was discrimination. That the relationships were not perfect. But the way it developed in the last few days, in my opinion, is very, very, very serious. The Arab community in Israel is a minority, some 20% of the population of Israel. Among us, Muslims, Druze, Christians, atheists, I wouldn't say atheists, agnostics. Not all of us are of one mind as far as religion is concerned. But we all fall in what they call the Arab-Palestinian minority citizens of the State of Israel. You would remember, Bianca, how I was described even on the cover of my book as an Arab-Palestinian Christian Israeli, which caused many people to wonder what kind of a creature I am. How come you're an Arab but not a Muslim? How come you're an Israeli but not a Jew? How come you're a Christian but you are an Arab? How come you're a Palestinian and you are not another fighter or terrorist? All this, the identity.
It's this the segmentation of identity
Yes.
that plays a huge role in this conflict.
Yeah, that's the key issue today. Who am I? Where am I? And for many, many years, we did have different misunderstandings that ended in some physical confrontation, but not the way we have seen the last few days. As if people never lived side by side, as if people were not neighbors with good relations, as if people did not exchange visits and went into this shop or into that shop to buy. It's a very serious development in Israel, in the state of Israel. The outcome of which is not yet clear. To me, it is not clear.
And how do you think this pattern can be broken of these conflicts and of these misunderstandings? I mean, clearly, right now we're in a very serious situation, and there's, like, you know, people that are not in the conflict on a global level are arguing with each other, like what is right, what is wrong, who is Jewish, who is Muslim. But it's way beyond this, because it's about humanity and the human rights, and those are being violated, and the world leaders are silently just watching.
Well, it's not only the world leaders, other leaders, religious leaders, church leaders. It's very disappointing. Years ago, when and I continue to refer to this event, on the 18th of February 2003, I happened to be one of 4 bishops visiting with the then Prime Minister, Tony Blair, at Downing Street in London, trying to encourage him not to go to war against Iraq. And Tony Blair said to us that they're going to war against Iraq to pave the way for peace in the Middle East. When my turn came to speak, to respond to him, I said, Sir, Prime Minister, the shortest route to Baghdad goes through Jerusalem. Once peace comes to Jerusalem, peace will come to the whole world. Then he never believed me. In less than 2 years, or 3 years perhaps, we met again in Jerusalem, and I met him again and again. And I could tell that he believed what I said to him. Peace in Jerusalem means let the two parties at least have enjoy some form of independence. I mean, Israel is an independent state. The Palestinians need to have an independent state, side by side with Israel for a little while, maybe 20, 25 years. After which, they need to learn the art of co-living, not only the art of coexisting. Only then, if we learn and become good in the art of co-living, the possibility of a federation or a confederation between the two states will become inevitable, and the way forward, with Jerusalem as the capital, not only for the two states, but Jerusalem as the capital, the peace capital for the whole world. Now, whether I live to see that happen, I don't. With the recent developments, I don't know.
What about the role of the church? Because clearly Jerusalem is a diverse city. You have Christians, you have Jews, you have Muslims. And usually, what was your role as the Anglican bishop in sort of in keeping the peace between all the different belief systems?
Let me tell you, I just finished also, I had few minutes after that meeting, waiting for this meeting with you. I responded to a letter which I received from England, from a friend of mine called Garth Hewitt. You may know him, you may know of him. He's a singer, he's a composer. I toured the United Kingdom once with him. He would sing and I would speak, and I invited him, when I became bishop, I invited him to visit our schools. He would sing for justice, he would sing for peace, beautiful songs. I wrote to him, sadly telling him that, and he said the same thing, that the prophetic voice of the church is absent. It's unfortunate that at a time when the church needs to speak up, I read what they've written a few days ago. It's not worth the paper on which they've written it. There is no clear view. What do they mean by simply putting few words on a piece of paper? What kind of an act, in what way they can help change the root, as it were? People either are becoming busy with the church institution, and any religion that is institutionalized, in my opinion, loses much of its much of its of the goals, much of the mission that they've been entrusted with. And I keep reminding people, the early believers, the early disciples of the Christian community 2,000 years ago were so few. In fact, had they been living in our days and applied to serve in the church, not one of them will pass the exam. They were not theologians. They were so few. They had no means, but few and with no means whatsoever, they managed to change the course of human history. What is the church doing today? In what way are we trying to change the course of human history? In what way we are helping to change the course of history in the land of the Holy One, in this Holy Land? In what way? How much of our time is really dedicated to peacemaking? Certainly, working for peace does not set aside the search for justice. I remind them the way I remind, even today, I remind them the way I reminded Netanyahu, Prime Minister Netanyahu, one time, in his first time as Prime Minister. We met in Haifa. And I reminded him of what Jesus Christ said. I said, when he said, I will do this, And I know many people continue to speak and talk and sing for peace. I said, listen to what Jesus said. Blessed are the peacemakers. Thank God he didn't say, blessed are the peace talkers. Let's make peace. For those who make peace will be called the children of God. If we believe in a living God, and I'm sure many among the Jewish community, among the Muslim community, among the Christians, believe in a living God. If we believe, check whether you be counted another child of God. Are we trying to make peace, or we continue to sing for peace? Or we continue to write about peace? How lovely peace is.
An abstract concept.
This will never bring peace around. The mission entrusted to us, the way I see it, the way I learned it, from day one when I became a priest, when I became a minister in the church. The way St. Paul used to say, God was in Christ reconciling the world to himself, and he entrusted us with the mission of reconciliation. In what way the church, in what way the religious teams, the religious groups, the religious institutions, Jewish, Muslims, Christians, you name it, in what way they are really busy trying to bring about reconciliation, bring about peace among the different conflicting parties. I'm so saddened. Prophetic voice is so absent.
And in the past, was it present? Like, was the church an active mediator in past?
Yeah, we were, yes. I mean, it was costly. For me, I dared to go on a secret mission to meet Arafat. This is in 85. Then I went again in 86. We were 6 on our first visit, 3 Jews and 3 Arabs. We formed an Arab-Jewish party in the early 80s. We ran for parliament. I was 3rd on the list, not wanting to become a member of parliament. But I almost got there, and I said, if I do, I will go only for 1 day, and I will stick to the church. Our goal was, we called it the Progressive List for Peace. In other words, the list progressing towards peace. And when we went, and my turn came to speak to Arafat, it was my second meeting with him, because I met him in Geneva in 84, when I was asked to speak about the role of religion in the making of peace. And he liked what I said. When I met him, when my turn came, we were 6, everybody said a few words. I said, I have only one thing in mind. I want you to sponsor a musical event in Vienna. We will invite 5 Palestinian musicians to meet with 5 Israeli musicians and challenge them to work out an anthem for peace. Mm-hmm. Rather than continue to stick to our 2 national anthems. In 85, he thought I was a knucklehead. I mean, you're talking about musical dialogue or music, dialogue and music. We're at war. I went again in 86. He said, what's on your mind today? I said the same. This was the beginning. I claim no credit. He accepted the challenge. When I came back to Israel, they said, your travel abroad threatens the security of the state of Israel. You're not allowed to travel. I was banned from traveling for 4 years. So working for peace is costly. As costly as going to war. But after 4 years, I was allowed to travel again. And my first visit abroad was to Norway, because the Minister for Foreign Affairs in those days, Mr. Bondovik, sponsored my visit, and that helped me get out. And when he said to me, what is on your mind? I said, please extend an invitation to Chairman Arafat and to an Israeli leader for dinner in Oslo. He thought I was a fool. He told me they let you travel only yesterday. Today you come and tell me, invite Arafat and an Israeli for dinner in Oslo. But that was, my dear Priyanka, that was the beginning of Oslo, of the Oslo Accord. Look up my book, which I gave you as a gift, if you remember.
Yes, definitely. I have it with
Look up the introduction.
with the Oslo Agreement.
The introduction has the title Good Monday, because it was that Monday on the 13th of September 1993 when they signed the Oslo Accord in Washington, D.C. I called it Good Monday because I wanted to remind people of Good Friday. And Good Friday in the Middle East is a very sad occasion because we remember the crucifixion of Jesus. I discovered that in Scandinavia, they speak of it as Long Friday. And in the West, they speak of it as Good Friday. And I said that first step on the 13th of September, 1993, is going to be Sad Friday, it's going to be a Long Friday, but ultimately it's going to be a Good Friday, depending on the leadership. Are we prepared for peace? Are we prepared to live and let live? Or are we ready only to plan another round of confrontation? It's very sad. And yet, I personally never lose hope. I continue to share my mind with people like yourself almost daily on Zoom, writing, calling people, and people calling me. As long as I live, I will continue not only to pray for peace, but to work for peace. And to continue to join hands, to continue even to acknowledge the otherness that is in the other, and expect him to acknowledge the otherness that is in me. Mutual respect need to be there. Otherwise, we will go from bad to worse. Rather than continue to walk in the valley of death, I try to help people to walk in the valley of light. Perhaps some of the prophecies will come true. I believe in the resurrection. There can be no resurrection without death. Will death bring about a resurrection of peace? This I leave it to you and to your listeners. In what way people can contribute? In what way people can join hands with those working for peace, for the sake of not one party, but for the sake of both parties.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Priyanka.
Thank you for sharing your deep insights. And I think from this we can also understand that there's a serious systemic issue at hand in which it's very totalitarian and it oppresses all sort of voices that are there as mediators or want to create peace, and that really this is in our hands as a collective to make a change. to rise as a collective, and power to the people in order to really bring an end to this ongoing fight.
Indeed. Indeed. Yes.
Thank you so much for your.
Thank you. Thank you, Priyanka. Thank you. And
Um,
let's hope that next time we meet, either on Zoom or personally, that things be more bright than they are today.
yes, let's hope for that. Yes. Well, let's actively manifest it, I would say.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a
Bless
great
you.
day. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.